year is 1988, Halloween night, and Michael Myers has returned to Haddonfield for the third time to kill the last remaining member of his family. But we don't know that yet, because that confusing storyline comes in later. To make a long story short, he ends up getting pumped full of lead, which is not a first for our man, Michael Myers, and falls into a mine shaft where they also throw a quarter stick of dynamite on top of him because this man is the literal embodiment of evil, so why the hell wouldn't you? It would seem silly not to. Flash forward a few moments after that, Michael Myers has somehow escaped the mine shaft and is now floating down a river, which brings us to Halloween Part 5. No anything else, right? It's just Halloween 5, right?
The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Joined here with AJ Eaton and Luke Allison, as always.
Glad to be here,
Hello.
as always.
And I'm Dylan. So yeah, Part 5, Halloween, you guys, pretty eventful, right?
I believe you are right, Dylan.
Okay. So 1989, 1 year later, Michael Myers, he has escaped from, everyone from Haddonfield once again, and he is floating down a river where he stumbles upon a gentle, old, kind soul who takes him in and lets him live in his, shed. It's, not a house, and it's, not a barn, but it's a shed. To where we jump forward 1 year into the future, where it is now 1989. Michael Myers has spent a lot of time, just reflecting, living with this old man, helping him take care of the land, living off the land mostly. And Michael Myers has a brand new perspective on life and starts to question some of the evil deeds he's done in the past. Just kidding. He goes back to Haddonfield to murder a bunch more people. And so...
Okay, so Jamie's been committed into a children's hospital, and she's mute.
Yeah, she's mute.
She is mute. It's
So
because of the psychological damage of all the nightmares and the experiences she's had with Michael Myers.
It's Halloween again. It's 1 year later. Jamie's in the hospital, and she can't talk now for some reason. Trauma, I suppose.
Psychological trauma.
Psychological trauma.
From nightmares and seizures.
From nightmares and seizures. Do they explain that in the movie?
I don't know if they do or not.
I don't remember them ever doing that. I just remember seeing Jamie and being like, "Hey, she's back," and then all of a sudden she can't talk for some reason.
A lot of these the films that we've been watching recently, this one, the fifth one, I feel like they have all these moments in them that if you read the Wikipedia synopsis or plot, you would notice that those things occurred, or you would read it through new eyes. But just watching the film, it doesn't tell you some of the pertinent details.
This was definitely kind of a hard to follow one because 4 left so many doors open. So going back into it, so Jamie's in the hospital. Her sister Rachel is still kind of caretaking for her, and Michael Myers is back, and Jamie has this kind of telepathic communication kind of thing going on with him, where it's she's in Michael Myers' mind and can kind of know where he is and what he's doing, which is kind of silly.
What did you think of that? Because that's a new thing for the series.
It was silly. And it gets a whole lot sillier, folks. Michael Myers breaks out. Loomis is kind of working at the facility as well. He's kind of there as Jamie's guardian in some sense. Jamie.
And as a medical psychological expert watching over her.
Right. And so, it's all the same shit. Donald Pleasance runs around and says Michael Myers is pure evil, and the police are like, "Oh, that crazy old kook." And so Michael Myers kills a bunch of people. So Rachel dies within the first 20 minutes of the movie. I think she's probably one of the first victims too. Like, I think she's one of the first like major kills
Well, if
in
you
this
don't
one.
count the hermit.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Michael killed the hermit.
Yeah, sad.
The
The guy in the shed. Or
that
whatever it is.
shows you how cold-blooded Michael Myers is. This
The guy
hermit,
who
Yeah,
took care
really.
of him.
it puts him up for an entire year. Doesn't
Yeah.
ask any questions. It's just like, hey, this guy needs some help.
Yeah.
1 year later to the date, kills him.
Do you think that man? I guess he was a hermit, but he lived next to Haddonfield. So
Yeah.
do you think he knew he was taking care of the infamous killer?
He had to have.
Like,
Did they
wouldn't he
not-
be like, this is just like those descriptions in the news?
Was there no like plot? Like, was there no like? Did no one ever give like eyewitness accounts of like what Michael Myers looked like?
Well, they obviously did. It's just, did the hermit know that?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. They just anyway. Hermit's fucking dead, and so
Yeah, but also, why did he keep him there for a year? That's kind of weird.
it's not explained. And I think
Oh wait, it wasn't a year. It wasn't a year. It was just.
It was a long time, though.
it was
was
a
it a
year.
year?
Yeah, it's 1 year later
Why
because
would you
it
keep just
it
a
ends.
body?
It ends on Halloween, part 5.
I think
part
there
4.
might be a love story right there.
So, Michael Myers, he's back in Haddonfield. He kills Rachel, and then Rachel's role is taken over by like this really ditzy kind of like free-spirited party girl,
Tina.
Tina, that's her name, and Tina just sucks. She's just awful.
Tina's personality,
Is dog shit. That was hard. That was a little too harsh. I'm sorry.
she brings some joy to the movie at first.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, we're kind of transitioning into
Mhm.
these like teenage characters. But then after a while, you're just like, where is this?
Well, it was like
taking
that
us?
one scene where she's just dancing and,
And
like
flopping around
Yeah,
and
and,
making
like,
noise.
singing, but it's not singing.
She was kind of
anything
going, ha,
specific.
ha, ha.
She was
just-
kind of like an alternative, free-spirited.
But she was
young
bopping
college
around.
girl.
But it was not as if I have ever seen anyone act.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's got the most annoying. Was it her who had the annoying boyfriend?
You talking
No.
about Mike?
Yeah,
Which one
that's
was
the blonde?
Who was the cool guy?
Mike. Are you talking cool as in like he was a cool character, or like cool
It-
as in like
The cool guy. Like he was
Like
like the
he's-
Fonzie guy who
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
talk much and he just
Yeah.
smoked cigarettes and he's like whatever.
good old Mike?
So Mike, a lot of character, in a lot of these movies, a lot of these characters, I kind of feel it hard like to even like they're not even worth mentioning because all they're there is like murder meat for Michael Myers. Like that's literally the only purpose they serve. So Rachel gets killed and it's kind of like confusing because like she has a very lazy kind of like uncharismatic kill, like or unenthusiastic kill. Like she's literally just like stabbed in the shoulders with a pair of scissors and then that's it.
Yeah.
We don't see her and it's like after all the shit she went through in 4, that's the send off they give her.
Right.
Kind of a letdown. Like if they had to kill her, they could have
Like
done
Rachel
it.
wasn't the best character, but like,
Right.
it still sucks for that actress.
She's definitely she planted herself in part of the
And compared to some of the previous films, this is where we start to see main characters killed off, and then none of their friends ever really referencing the fact that their friend went missing. Like she dies.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then like they go to this party and people
Well-
aren't saying our friend's dead or where is our friend. They just kind of just go on without her.
Well, no, they remember there's that whole like thing where Rachel's debating on like going up to like a
Yeah, like some
con-
type
like a
of
cottage or something. Like
with their
she's
family.
Oh,
she's
they
gonna
thought
take a family.
she left
and
with
so
the
yeah,
family.
there's that moment where they go over
Yeah.
to the house and they're like, oh, she must have left. Whatever,
Yeah.
we're gonna party without her.
Yeah.
But she was dead the whole time.
I feel like that's just a cheap way of writing.
It was
though.
kind
Yeah.
of like a cheap
cheaply
way.
written.
I know, and we'll get into that more later because there's actually a little heartbreaking story behind that whole aspect of the movie.
So Tina becomes the main like, girl.
Tina kind of takes the role. Tina kind
Laurie
of fills
Strode
in.
character.
Yeah, she. Whereas Rachel and Jamie took Laurie Strode, so now it's Tina and Jamie also playing the final girls.
Okay, who is Tina's friend who has that obnoxious boyfriend?
I don't remember her name at all.
That was Sam, but the
Okay.
annoying boyfriend was Spitz
Oh,
with a Z.
Spitz.
Yeah, like
Spitz.
Spitz.
Spitz. Yeah, that guy was annoying. He had a very annoying laugh. He was a jokester.
Yeah.
Honestly, my
That
favorite.
character.
Honestly,
He was the worst character.
he
in
was
the
the
film.
worst, but he, I'm sympathetic with people like that because it's like he's just trying to have a good time and get everyone to lighten up a little bit. So what? There's a murder on the loose.
Everything
They did this
about
really cheap move in the movie where they had him dressed as Michael Myers,
Yeah.
and it was a fun like jump scare type of deal at the first time he did it. Oh, it's not really Michael Myers. Well, they did that two or
So
three
many
times.
times,
They
yeah.
kept doing that. Oh, it really is Michael. No, it's the kids joking around. They kept doing this prank over and over and over. I'm like, okay, we understand.
They did, yeah. They did that bit like legitimately, like it was like it felt like 5 or 6 times to the point where it got to the tail end of them. It was like when Michael Myers does show up, it's like okay, great, like it is actually him this time, but it's like they wasted all the good suspense and scares like on the stupid bullshit jump scare one. So it was like, anyway, we're in a barn.
Halloween party at a barn.
Halloween
Well, at a farm, but it
at
was
a
a barn
farm.
on it.
Jamie has
That was a fun thing.
Can we talk about the old lady in
Yes,
the party?
please,
yeah,
please.
Oh.
yeah.
Best part of the movie. And I have a new theory of that AJ too, about this older lady. I have a new theory.
What's that?
I believe we saw this older lady, for the listeners. There's a big party going on. All these 80s teenagers are having this house party, and it pans the camera and shows this old lady as if they were partying in her house, her granddaughter or grandson, and just ignored her. I have a new theory. Maybe it's someone who went all out and has a really good old lady costume.
Oh,
That would be the biggest
man.
plot twist of Halloween 5.
Halloween period.
The whole franchise. The new movie comes out.
Damn,
The
that
new
just-
movie comes out, and they're like, the old lady in Halloween 5 was just an elaborate costume.
That was the best thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, there's like a quick little, what is it, like it's like a 5-second shot of just this old lady.
Yeah, we had
looking-
to we had to like go back and stop and pause
It's so
on it.
it's just thrown in there, and it's like, what? Who is this old lady party? Like, what is she doing at this party? Is this her house? Like, it's not explained.
You
It's
don't
just
remember
there.
those high school parties?
Um,
Where you would go to a party and people just party around the
I thought
grandparents.
I thought she was like senile, and she was like, "Who the fuck are all these?
Where am
kids in my
I?"
house?" You know?
Um,
But we also had to pause for something else, or not pause, but go back and
oh yeah, the
listen
cops.
to again. Yeah, the
Yeah.
cops.
Okay,
Luke,
so-
you want to tell us about the?
I will tell you about these cops. There are 2 doofus cop characters.
They're doofs.
They're doofs. They are the cheesiest, worst cops ever. And for some reason, there's a little jingle, a little. How would you
It's
describe
like
that?
a-
It's called a cartoon cue or something like that. Like a
Wah, 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 wah. Like
Yeah.
a little cheesy,
Like, look how dumb we are, you know?
Like a bumbling,
bumbling
just like
idiot sound.
Yeah.
just like a
It
little
reminded
jingle.
me of Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
Like the music when they play for
Yeah.
the what's his name? The uncle, Cousin Eddie. The Cousin Eddie.
Yeah.
The music. Well, it's just they throw that in there. We had to stop and replay it several times because we thought it wasn't a part of the original movie. We thought someone threw it in there.
Yeah.
It was so impossibly bad.
Yeah.
And it didn't fit the franchise at all.
I
Yeah,
think,
Dylan, you had like something really interesting
Yeah.
about that, though.
yeah. Do you want me to get into it
Yeah.
now? Well, I was watching the making of Halloween Part 5. One of the actors who played the cops, I don't remember the actor's name or what, even which cop he was explaining that how, he didn't realize that like their characters were kind of like supposed to be like portrayed in that way. Like no one had told him on set, like on the day that they were filming. I mean, I guess like it hit from the beginning, it was always kind of this idea that they wanted like these 2 kind of quirky characters to kind of put some like comedy relief in there. I mean, even if that was the idea, they either didn't try hard enough or they didn't care to try hard enough because they're not funny. They don't even tell jokes. I think it's just they're supposed to be like clowns. Anyway, he didn't know until like he went to go see the movie at its premiere that they had added in like all those weird little bumbling doof jingles. And he said it was just like the weirdest thing for him because it was like no one had told him like, oh yeah, you guys are going to be like these 2 bumbling idiots and we're going to put like this dumb little cartoon music. And it's like the music is so soft and like subtle that it really does make you question like, is that supposed
Yeah.
to be there or
And one
am I
time
hearing shit?
all it was just like a trombone.
Yeah, it was just like slide whistles. Like one of
Yeah.
them, they don't even have like any really funny lines. Like one of them says something like, "Yeah, we're just a couple of idiot cops," and then it does like a, "Woo."
Wow.
It's like so stupid. It wasn't funny. It didn't relieve anything. It didn't relieve any tension that the movie already
Imagine
wasn't
those
building.
sounds in the original John Carpenter Halloween. I mean, like, sometimes on these sequels, I try to imagine these in the original movie. It's just, we've gone so far from the original.
We're 5 deep, and we are fucking light years away from the original. Yeah, the cops were ridiculous. They die pretty quickly too, for the better, if I am not being too cruel.
But not before my favorite scene in the barn.
What happens in the barn?
That's where.
Oh, that's the good kill.
Spitz, yeah.
Spitz yeah.
Spitz and Sam are having sex, and Michael impales them.
Not both of
with a
them.
pitchfork.
Just Spitz.
I believe it goes through both of them.
You're right. You're right. I was thinking of a Jason kill.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Well, he
Spitz
just gets Spitz.
Oh, yeah.
And then she's slashed across with the garden scythe,
Right.
and that was pretty.
I think that was
gnarly.
the best kill of the movie.
Yeah, it was. It was
'Cause
And
none of
then
the other-
Tina found them, and that was like they just fall.
Yeah, out of the hay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael loves to hide the bodies for people to find later.
Yeah, he really does.
Like that's kind of like a layer of insanity to him that, I'm really happy he's, I don't know. I feel like Michael Myers had more character in this one than the actual characters did, and just the little subtleties of him doing stuff like that. But okay, so we go to a Halloween party and some stuff happens there. Michael kills a bunch of teenagers. Jamie shows up with her little friend who is there for no reason, really. He's just kind of there with her. There's kind of a moment. There's kind of a nice moment between.
Can I add something there?
What's that?
They all these teenagers drove out from Haddonfield
Yeah.
to the country to this party, and Jamie and her young friend her age all of a sudden walk up and they're at this party. How did they arrive there?
They ran, dude. It's not explained.
Poor writing.
Well, yeah, I think, when you're 5 movies deep into like a franchise, I think just the writers eventually are like, dude, no one's gonna ask questions like that. But I mean, here we are asking those kinds of questions. So.
30 years later.
Right?
Yeah, but he was chasing him with a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That
kind
was
of a
what was
Through
that was
woods.
kind of a badass scene.
Thick
And
woods.
he's yeah.
Which we brought up. Why don't you just like run behind a tree? Then he couldn't. They were like dodging
Exactly.
trees.
Yeah,
and
and-
if he would have just got behind a tree, he couldn't.
He couldn't have gotten.
Well, he
you.
was
Yeah.
dodging trees with a car.
Yeah,
How hard?
yeah.
How hard is that?
You
Pretty hard.
could have like ran straight towards the tree while he was
Yeah.
chasing you, and then last second like quickly like made a sharp left turn, and he would go into the tree, and so that way you could get away.
Well, it's not
Yeah.
like he would die. I mean, he would walk
True.
out.
Yeah.
What if that was what killed him? They were like
Car crashes.
So there's actually kind of a really cool moment with Loomis and Michael where Loomis is like standing in front of the forest, and he's like, "I know you're out there, Michael." They kind of have like a nice little moment. Like Loomis and the Michael and Loomis moments in all these movies, I kind of think are my favorite.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like that's when it's like they get that thing back,
That relationship.
that
I
relationship back.
I love when Dr. Loomis shouts into the abyss like that. Michael!
Yeah,
Not again!
Yeah.
Just
they don't happen often because Michael ends up killing like a lot of people before Loomis can ever get to him. So when they happen, it's kind of nice.
and they both walk similar in the same kind of shuffle.
Yeah, you could.
So I've always suspected that Loomis, if he didn't have those same scenes, that Loomis was Michael.
you could probably spin it that way, except for the scenes where
They're together.
they're fighting each other. So then I don't think it ends there. We go back to the Myers house, which has had a lot of add-ons and extensions since Halloween 4. Do they show it much in Halloween 4? I don't remember. But anyway, if you notice, Luke, the Myers house in Halloween 5 is like a freaking castle compared to what it's been depicted as in the past. Like they had like this like fucking 2 stories. I don't think the original Myers house
3 and Halloween 5. It's like a 3
Yeah,
story
it's
house.
like a freaking castle.
And then the original, it's a small. Remember when Laurie Strode walked by it with her friends babysitting?
Yeah,
That was a small little house.
it was just a small little house. Yeah, just like
so
an
it's a
old-
haunted house. It's in its own entity. It's growing.
I think there's an episode of HGTV out there somewhere where like we're gonna fix up the Myers house, and
Yeah.
then like Michael comes in and kills
Michael
them before
Myers
they can finish.
Dream Home, 1989.
Like we're gonna add another story. We're gonna add a beautiful room with like one of the what are they called? What are those rooms
A
called?
veranda,
When they have like a round like window, like what are those called? You know what I'm talking about?
like a round porch.
a circular room of your house that like bulges out from the rest of the house.
Oh, a torrent.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah.
So they take Jamie back there with this elaborate plan to lure Michael back to the house with Jamie so they can get him. And of course, they fuck it all up miserably because Michael does the 1-2 switcheroo on him where they're like, he's at the police station. And so rather than everyone like not calling a bluff or, you know, not at least sending just a couple people there to scope it out first, they all
Everyone.
they all just jump in their cars and like a bunch of renegade soldiers start running down the road like, we're going to get him. Leave Jamie and Loomis and this other, which is a decent cop, not funny, kind of weird. I think he had some other intentions with Jamie that night because he kind of had one of those smiles that just made you think, you know, he's in it for
Yeah.
something else.
He did give off a creeper vibe.
But, you know, decent cop. He dies.
My favorite part of that whole like house scene was the chute.
Yeah.
Where Jamie climbed into the laundry chute and Michael's just stabbing it like crazy.
Yeah.
Just something about it, like him looking up, see where she's at in the thing. And
Okay, am I getting this confused? Yeah, this is the one. This is okay. I'm sorry. Myers shows back up to his house, kills the cop. You know, him and Jamie go at it for a little bit. He actually almost kills Jamie too. He gets her up into the attic. Jamie can talk now at this point too.
yeah,
Because amongst all this trauma and drama, you know, she gained the ability to talk, even though that was, you know, originally what took the ability for her to talk away. It doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. So Michael gets, this is where the thorn stuff starts to come heavily into effect. Kind of a sweet moment where Jamie's like, Uncle, will you take your mask off? Like, can I just see your face for one last time? And Michael takes his mask off, and we see him for a minute.
and he's crying.
And he's
A
crying.
single tear goes down his eye, and it really sucks.
It really does suck because it added a lot of, put a lot more. It's kind of better.
And we saw Michael Myers in the first one
Yeah, for a moment.
briefly. In this one, he has more of an 80s haircut, so he kind of changed with the times. He really did have. He had more of
Yeah.
a fashionable haircut.
While he was living with that hermit, he was watching MTV
Ooh, but Jamie also finds Rachel and Mike in the attic.
at these points,
Yeah.
at this point in time. So Michael takes his mask off and is like, oh my God, I have feelings again. And then is like, nah, fuck this shit, and puts it back on and tries to kill Jamie. To which Loomis then throws a net over him and beats the living crap out of him with a board or something. It's like a plank.
Yeah, wooden plank. Well, he shoots him with the tranquilizer.
He dopes him up and
But
shoots
you know
him with
that
the
ain't
tranquilizer.
enough. So you just gotta beat the shit out of him.
He
with a
beats the
wooden
shit out of
plank.
him. And then, golly, what happens after that? What I can't even remember, you guys.
Okay. Well, he's locked up in that. Oh my God! You know what? We've forgotten this whole thing.
What?
We haven't talked about the weird, like, random guy in the black.
Oh, that's right.
Like-
They take him to jail. They
That
take him.
random dude.
Well,
like,
the
the
thorn.
Man in Black.
We were talking about the thorn. As I was saying
Yeah.
earlier, the thorn stuff starts to play an effect there. Because Michael has kind of made, like, in the attic, like, this shrine with, like, all these candles.
yeah,
Very elaborate. Like, I don't know how he got that all set up in the short period of time he would have had to
yeah,
do so.
really though.
But he's painted that thorn symbol everywhere, which is just leaves the audience being like, okay, like we're at the end of, you know, the next movie, and we still don't know what this thorn crap is.
Yeah,
So Michael,
very satanic in a way.
yeah, it's kind of weird. It you know, it leaves it up to your imagination, but also it's like if you're going to introduce something like that, you might as well just go ahead and
Explain it.
explain it. Because other than that, it's just like, oh, Michael's
So-
just got like a tattoo of some, like he's just
Right.
a hipster, and he's like, you don't
So
get
I don't
it.
know if we talked about this in 4, 5, and 6, or I mean about 4, 5, and 6, but
They consider it the Thorn
it's the
trilogy.
Thorn trilogy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have one more in that, and then H2O, Luke's favorite.
Yeah. So, and thank God. So,
So yeah, we're at the prison or the jail, and
Yeah.
he gets locked up, and everything seems to be okay.
until the man in black from the end of part 4
Just
shows
like
back up.
machine guns every cop in the whole station, and then it ends.
And then it ends, and everyone goes. You have the same questions asking about by the end of 4. You're asking the same questions by the end of 5. Who is the man in black? What is this thorn tattoo? Or I guess they don't even say thorn. We don't even know that
Yeah.
it's a thorn. What is this just goofy little tattoo that everyone seemingly has? So they did literally they did more. If you ask me, I think they did a lot more damage in 5 than they did like answering questions. Like they opened up so many doors in 4, and then literally just left them open in 5, and just opened up a couple more doors instead of closing any doors at all.
There's no continuity in the series. They don't try to wrap
Right.
up loose ends at all.
No, they. I think
It's as if they're kind of just creating the series as they go,
yeah.
and not really stopping to look at it.
Yeah, it really it's very it's a thrown together kind of mess. That said,
I love to pretend that the Thorn trilogy doesn't exist.
well, that's what the new one kind of is doing. This new Halloween coming out, it's kind of flushing all that crap down the toilet.
Ooh, I do want to run some things real quick because we do this every episode.
Hit it,
It
Fergie.
was directed by a Dominic Arthur Gerard, and then it had a budget of 5 to 6 million, and the box office was 11.6 million.
Oh, so it made money. Well, I think all of these Halloween movies make money. Like they've all made money.
I love this quote. It's by Mostafa Akkad. I guess it's someone that was on the production of it. He says, "Drunk off the success of Halloween 4, we began production on Halloween 5."
Yeah,
Just like, yeah, well, no shit.
yeah.
You
'cause
made it
four-
in 1
yeah.
year.
Personal feelings, Dylan. Dylan, what do you think of the film?
Well, I mean, it's enjoyable. It's got like some pretty all right kills. But as far as like, if I'm gonna have to talk about these movies, as far as like if we're reviewing them in a serious way, like it as a standalone film is just garbage. It in a series of films is it's still garbage, but it's like, man, it's just a weak sequel. It's just a weak sequel amongst a bunch of already weak sequels. Yeah, man, it really just wasn't that great. Not one of my favorite Halloween movies at all. It strayed way too far away from the original, which is, I don't,
Yeah.
not a fan. Didn't like it. AJ?
I loved it. It was
Yeah.
hilarious. It just had me like laughing the whole time. I was just into it. I felt it. I really.
What was
felt
so
this
hilarious
movie.
about it?
Oh man, not only like the cop stuff, but just how stupid these characters were.
Oh, it was hilarious on like so bad that it's good kind of
yeah,
level.
and that's why I loved it. I just
But-
absolutely loved it for that reason.
I agree with AJ that it's the funniest Halloween movie I've seen yet. It has the most funny moments. Not intentionally funny, but funny
Right.
because it's so terrible.
Yeah.
Like those cops.
Yeah.
That silly guy who wore the John Lennon glasses and drove around like that cool
Yeah.
character guy. There's so many funny characters, and that bippy boppy friend. What was her name again?
Rachel too.
Tina.
Tina.
Yeah, Rachel
Tina.
too.
So I would say it's the funniest Halloween movie I've seen, and also the worst. It's my least favorite in the series.
Yeah.
So far,
I don't know. I didn't really get. I mean, it was.
but I
it
think
was,
4 is very forgettable as well.
It was.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering things on.
I
4.
definitely liked 4 better than 5 for sure.
I remember liking it better, but not
Yeah.
why.
5. I mean, I don't know. It was like an enjoyable watch in the sense of like where you just laugh at like, God damn, this movie is kind of like a.
So would
mess.
you guys like this Halloween 5, the Revenge of Michael Myers? Would you like that better than 3, or did you like 3 better?
I like 3 a lot better for
Yeah, you know,
for
man.
all reasons.
3 was just, yeah, really though.
3 was a better movie
Yeah.
than 5 was. If we're just gonna break it down on a movie level, like regardless of how crappy both of them were, 3 was just a better structured film. Because the performances, another thing, the performances in 5 were pretty lackluster, but you know, they're never really all that great. So
I understand.
it feels a little mean to judge these movies on performances because it's like you kind of have to go into these movies. Donald Pleasance is really the only person who has any kind of a standard in any of these movies of like what their performance is going to be, whether it's good or not.
He carries the Halloween films on his shoulders.
Well, they say if we want to get into like some factoids about the stuff, I guess Donald Pleasance, you know, he's a very respected actor. He's been acting for a really long time. I guess when he showed up to the set of 5, you know, even though everyone, including the filmmakers and the cast and people behind the scenes, knew what they were making and that it wasn't going to be anything special, but they said Donald Pleasance came in there and was, you know, brought his like A game and was acting as if like he had stepped on stage to perform Shakespeare. That's just the kind of actor Donald Pleasance is. Like they'll give him like just the worst lines of dialogue in just like the weirdest scenes, and he'll still like show up to set and like once the cameras start rolling, like he's Loomis.
He's a true actor.
He's a true actor, and I gotta give my props to Donald Pleasance.
His performances per movie, they're consistent.
They are consistent. I mean, he's got crappy dialogue. But he does the best he possibly can with it. Donald Pleasance is easily the best part of all these movies, for sure. I really wish he didn't. I wish he was in all of them, but 6 is unfortunately his last one, which, you know, is a damn shame, but we'll get to that on next week's episode
All right, boys.
of Series the Series.
Wait, what are we rated, guys?
I'm going to give Halloween Part 5 a 2.3 out of 5 on the movie scale, and on the fun scale, a 3.7.
And I'm giving it a 3 on the fun scale, but a 1 on the actual movie scale.
Fair enough.
2 and 5.
2 and 5. Not bad.
AJ loves
Yeah.
Halloween 5.
It is a fun movie. It's just like, you know.
It's a good comedy.
Yeah, Halloween 5, best comedy of 1998 or 89, whatever. So, guys, tune in next episode when we discuss Halloween Part 6, but it's actually not Part 6. It's just Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. We will be discussing both the theatrical and producer's cut. So tune in for that because that's going to be a beautiful little shit show.
And it's got Paul Rudd in it.
And it's got Paul Rudd in it. So if you haven't seen it, watch it, then listen to the episode. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Good night.